Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. In today's video, as you can see from the title down below, I am going to be swatching every single palette from the MUA little 5-pan range that they have. So we've got 7 eyeshadow palettes here. As you can see, there's a lot of different tones. We've got mattes, we've got shimmers, we've got duochromes that are the most beautiful finish. I have been absolutely loving them. So I'm going to go sort of from lightest to darkest, but there's light and darks in every single shade. I'm going to be swatching them all on my arm so that we can see what all of the colours actually look like on very, very pale, fair skin. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And if you like these makeup reviews, if you like cruelty-free and affordable makeup, I would love it if you would subscribe down below. I post 3 times a week on a Monday, a Wednesday and a Friday. And there's often extra little videos thrown in on a Sunday as well. If you want to see this whole look, it was posted a couple of days ago. And let's just dive into the eyeshadow palette, shall we? So I'm going to start with the lightest, palest one, but there is like obviously light to dark shades in each palette. This is the Neutral Wanderlust palette, and if I open this up, you can see it is very nude. There's a really, really light matte, almost like peachy pink shade, and also quite a deep matte brown. These shades are more suited towards a lighter skin tone. I don't believe that these would necessarily show up very much on a deeper skin tone. There are deeper ones coming up, but let me go ahead and swatch these for you. So we have got 3 mattes and 2 shimmers, and the matte formula from MUA is just beautiful. It's really, really nice and soft and smooth, and the shimmers really, really are blinding. So as you can see, we've got the 2 shimmers there. So we've got a slightly lighter one and a slightly deeper one. Both are very, very much neutral tones, would create a really nice sort of neutral wearable everyday sort of a look. I really, really like this one just for an everyday. What I like to do with this one is put this middle shade right through the crease, a tiny little bit of the darker shade, either right on the outer corner or smoke it out a little bit with like a liner brush, and then either of the shimmers all over the lid. And that's just a really quick, easy, wearable, everyday sort of a look. So next up is Desert Bloom, and this is definitely more pinky. So this is more true pink, like this is a proper ballet slipper sort of a pink nude shade. And the same as the last one, we have 3 mattes, this one, this one and this one, and the 2 shimmers. So again, we've got a lighter shimmer and a darker shimmer, a darker matte shade, again for deepening up the outer corner, creating a little bit of a smokier wing. But this one is more pink leaning, where Neutral Wanderlust is definitely more brown, neutral brown leaning. So let me go ahead and swatch Desert Bloom. So on Desert Bloom, I do feel like the darkest shade is very, very similar to the one in the previous palette, but you can see with the shimmers and with the lighter matte shades, it's definitely more pink, and it's definitely more colourful leaning, where Neutral Wanderlust is more neutral, it's more browny. You can definitely see the difference in the matte shades, where Desert Bloom is just a little bit more pink. I still feel like very, very wearable. I still feel like quite nude and quite neutral. For me and how I like to wear my makeup, this is basically just a neutral palette. It is still very light, so I don't think it would necessarily show up too much on deeper skin tones. Again, there are ones coming, but I really, really like the slightly pinker undertones. I think that it really suits blue eyes beautifully. Then next up is Utopia. This is their newest eyeshadow palette. This one came out I think around about a month ago at this point, and if I hold this up you might be able to see how much I have used this one. This shade at the end in particular has been used so much. So the matte shades in this palette are these three in the center. Then we've got a regular shimmer at this end, and this shimmer down at this end is a duochrome. And I feel like you can see that where it's sort of catching the light. It's pinky purpley, and then when it catches the light it turns into a beautiful bright baby blue, if that makes any sort of sense. I really love this palette. I do feel like the mattes I could do with one slightly darker. The darkest shade in this one isn't as dark as the ones in the other two that we've swatched already. It doesn't go as dark as that, and I wish that it did. I wish that one of these mattes was just a tiny little bit darker, but so beautiful with that duochrome. I've been using this one a ton. So this is Utopia here, and I'll be the first to admit I am the worst swatcher, because I'm swatching like this, and then when I go to put my hand up they're all down here. So I will try and like grab my arm and move it around so that you can see how incredible that duochrome shade is. Can you see where that's catching the light and it's reflecting blue? But the matte shades are more peachy neutrally. Definitely not as dark as the previous ones though. I feel like they really could have used, I mean these two are very similar. They could have used just a tiny little bit more brown in one of those just to make it a little bit deeper. Obviously I've got all of them, so I can just add in another shade from another palette, but I do feel like if you only had this palette you would be quite limited in the depth that you could take the look to. I do also believe I have seen on their Instagram that this shade shows up even on deeper skin tones. It is so beautiful. I am the biggest fan of this palette, despite the fact that I want it to be a little bit different. I really am a big fan. So then next up is Enchantment, and this one has a really interesting pop of purple. Again, I feel like the darkest shade isn't going all that dark. We've got a really bright pop of silver, and again 3 mattes, 2 shimmers, but that pop of like a shimmery purple I feel like really sets this one apart. This one is definitely leaning more cool toned. We're starting to get into more of the cool toned palettes now, but I do still feel like quite neutral. Like you could definitely get something that still feels quite sort of everyday and still quite wearable and not too cool toned, but we're starting to get into a little bit of that cooler tone. So this is how Enchantment is looking. I tried to do them a little bit straighter and they've ended up even more wonky, but look how incredible that silver is. It's so reflective, it's so smooth. It's not got any chunks of glitter in it. It truly just looks like a foil, and it's almost like a cream formula. Like in the pan, it almost feels like a cream, and look how beautiful that purple is as well. I don't believe I've ever used this one on my channel. If you want to see any looks with any of these, then do let me know. I have filmed with Utopia, this one with that duochrome. I have filmed with that one, so I will link any relevant videos that I can find, but I don't believe I filmed with Enchantment. If you want to see that, do let me know. Then next up we have got Wilderness, and I know for certain I filmed with this one because I remember not liking it very much, and then when I was getting all of these palettes out of my drawers to prepare for this video, I swatched this again and I think it's really pretty. So I don't know what I was thinking when I first tested this. Like I say, I will link any relevant videos, but Wilderness has green. Wilderness has this beautiful, almost like khaki army green. This shimmer is beautiful. It's like the other ones that I've mentioned. It's almost like a cream. It almost goes on like a creamy sort of foil. Again, this is the darkest shade in this palette, so it doesn't go too dark, but I feel like the depth of this green is beautiful. So let me swatch. So this is what Wilderness looks like. How beautiful is that green? It's really, really pigmented, but I feel like it blends out really, really nicely. Sort of, you can see at the bottom where it's started to blend out a little bit. It does soften down. I feel like the undertone of it is very, very wearable. This tealy coloured shimmer is absolutely me in an eyeshadow. I really, really like this one. I definitely need to be using it more because, like I say, it's just been sat in my drawer because the first time I used it I didn't like it, and now I'm looking at these and I'm like, how did I not like that? Like, that is beautiful. The colour story is so, so nice. I feel like the green with the slightly pinkier brown tones, it's sort of like a mink, sort of a matte shade, the perfect through the crease sort of a shade to blend either this shimmer or this green matte right across the lid. Is just absolutely beautiful. I need to be using this one more. I need to film with this one ASAP. Let me know if that's something that you would like to see, because Wilderness is beautiful. Then next up, I was actually sent this one, but if you know me, if you know my channel, you know that this is absolutely the sort of one that I would have bought with my own money. And I haven't even mentioned yet, these are £3.75. 3 UK pounds and 75 UK pennies for 5 shades that are this pigmented, this reflective. £3.75. This is Amber Sunset, and just look, the shades are beautiful. The warm tones, absolutely incredible. It truly does look like a sunset. Again, I'm fairly certain I've got a video using this one, but also very, very happy to film another one if you want to see an updated look. This one only has one shimmer, but the depth in the darker tones, but also the lightest tone is still really nice and light for a lighter skin tone. So, so beautiful. Warm, toasty, orange, burnt orange tones. The most beautiful colours on blue eyes. I also feel like these shades look beautiful on brown eyes because it really brings out the warmth. I love. So let me swatch this one. So I feel like this one is really different to the rest. You can see where this one has got a lot more warmth to it, a lot more richness to the colours. And if I just try and twist my arm a little bit, you might be able to see this shimmer is almost like a liquid bronze. It's almost like a coppery. It's so, so beautiful, so, so reflective, but again, really, really nice and smooth. It's not got any sort of chunky glitteriness to it. It is so smooth and so reflective and so pigmented. I will say at this point, because I don't think I mentioned yet, I do two, when I do swatches, I do 2 layers, but the shimmers here have only required one swatch for the shimmers and 2 for the mattes, just to, you know, intensify the colour a little bit so that you can actually see what the colour looks like. But how beautiful is that shimmer? I really hope you can see where that's like catching the light. I really can't see on my little viewfinder here, it's so tiny, but I really, really like this one. Like I say, especially on blue eyes. And then the deepest, the darkest palette. This is the one that I'm wearing today. This is Andromeda Skies. I think that's how you say it. If I hold that up there. Andromeda. I don't know. But the coolest grey tones. Again, 2 shimmers, 3 mattes. And this one goes really, really deep. This isn't black, it's the darkest grey. It's not quite black, but it's so, so deep, so smoky, but like I say, this is the look. This is the eyeshadow palette that I've used across my eyes today with a different liquid liner. It's not the liner, it's just the shadow. So you can still get something that's quite light. You can still get something that's quite sort of soft and blown out. It's not too pigmented where a little dip of the brush and then application, it's not too much. It still blends out really nicely with the mattes and the shimmers. So, so pretty. Let me swatch these because I did swatch that shimmer shade. I used that first shimmer shade. The second shade in, I used this one across the lid, and just look, it's so reflective. So what I love about this one is that this shimmer, this lighter of the two shimmers, is almost like a pinky undertone. Can you see where that's like catching the light? It's almost got a pinkness to it. It's really soft and reflective. It's not too grey. I feel like because it's got that pink under it, it's got that pink behind it, it's almost like intensifying the reflection of the shade, if that makes any sense. And because it's got that pink under it, and obviously like the lightest matte is more of like a pink undertoned brown, I feel like I was able to just pack that across the lid and like really blend it out so it wasn't too much, because obviously I've got a lot on the lip. Like, I wasn't going for the most on the eye today if you saw this whole look, but really, really nice and soft and reflective. But I do also feel like where the other shimmer, this darker shimmer, leans more just like a regular, I say regular shimmer, like a regular cool toned shimmer, I feel like that on a deeper skin tone with the matte, very, very dark grey, that would just look incredible. Like, they really, really would show up a lot on deeper skin tones. Like, look how much that darkest grey has like stained my finger. I need to wipe that off before that leaves me in a right pickle. The pigment in these mattes truly, truly is fantastic. Like, I feel like you can tell just by the swatches that the mattes are so richly pigmented, but they also blend out really, really easily. I feel like these are one of the most user-friendly eyeshadow formulas that I have used, because they're so pigmented but they also blend really nicely. You can just do a one and done, which is what I do on most days. I do just pack something across the lid and blend out the edges, and where these have such a great depth of pigment, they blend out and basically just create the eye look by themselves. So if there are any colour stories here that you want to see a more in-depth look for, then do let me know. I definitely want to play with this one that had that purple in it. What were you called? Enchantment. Definitely want to play with that one very, very soon. But like I say, I'll link any relevant videos down below where I'm using any of the other ones. If there are any looks that you want to see, do let me know. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.